It's the mid-1300s, and the plague is in full swing. Most historians agree that around 30 to 40% of the population was killed by the plague. Will you be one of them? How long can you survive, and possibly thrive in, the Black Death, an early access title from Siren Studios and Small Impact Games, available on Steam for $19.99. Hey guys, I'm Thomas from wisegamer.com, and this is my early access review of The Black Death. The gameplay you're seeing was played on stream at beam.pro/wisegamer, courtesy of the developers and House of Cards Gaming. I'll have a link to all of them down in the description below. We were able to get a key and check out a new update that The Black Death just put out. Now basically the story goes that you've been thrusted into the heart of the Black Plague, starting as a mere beggar, sick, hungry, thirsty, trying to survive. The towns are desolate, depressing, even the capital's full of bodies that are just piled high. Some of them not even burned or wrapped anymore like they did earlier on in the plague. It's definitely the plague in full swing at this point. People all around you are sick. Every direction you walk leads to danger, be it the plague itself, bandits, or other survivors willing to kill you for their own survival. As you go through the gameplay, you'll see a lot of other semblances to things like other survival-esque games, whether it's Rust, Ark, Conan Exiles, things like that, with the biggest change obviously being that the theme is the Black Death, the Black Plague, rather than just surviving on an island with dinosaurs or something like that, or in the Conan realm for Conan Exiles. You have to collect, scavenge for food, water, other crafting materials, and try to survive as long as you possibly can. It starts off very, very difficult and brutal in my opinion, with just trying to survive and just make it a couple days, and at that point it starts getting a little bit easier. So as you play more, you unlock more skills, make more crafting abilities, and it makes life just easier in general, as well as your character actually has a little bit more resistance to how slowly the hunger deteriorates and you have to eat, or how much you have to drink and things like that too. Everyone starts as a beggar, but after you unlock all the skills within that class, which there's actually a lot of them, you can actually move into a new class the next time you die. So basically you start off as a beggar and there's like a progression tree for all the skills there, and then there's an overall class progression tree. So again, once you finish every single skill that the beggar can possibly get and unlock them all, you can unlock the next class up. The fact that you can't play as that class until you die in the current build is something I didn't really like as much. I would like to not have to suicide my character or die to be able to try out a new class. I would rather just be able to be promoted into that class and get those skills. It's not a terrible idea. It just takes a lot of work to get to any type of promotion in general, and then to have to suicide after that or die to some other way. Just kind of seems like a loss. Now you can store all your items in a house or something like that, and I'll get into that in a second, but still having to suicide and start over again, where surviving for X amount of days actually will make you more resilient to the disease and to hunger decay and things like that, kind of sucks that you got to start over. So the game's very much like other titles I mentioned though. So again, whether it's Ark, Rust, Conan Exiles, those types of games where you collect the resources, you craft things, you level up and unlock skills to learn new recipes, craft new things, and just live as long as you possibly can. The housing system that I mentioned for a second, it's in the game. It's actually pretty cool. It allows you to purchase houses that are in the game with already some prefab type builds basically. You can then craft things like beds, doors, walls, and other items such as like the different crafting stations in the world. So you can have your own workbench, your own loom, anvils, and other things like that. So you don't have to leave your house. It kind of acts as a base of operation away from the town, which means you're also away from other players. So you can survive there, store all your items in chests and things like that instead, and it's a little bit better protected. Now, visually the game is done quite well. There's definitely a sense of death and despair throughout the entire world, with a general haziness that you see that kind of puts like a little bit of a tinge on the camera that you see. It's a really interesting effect, and it didn't bother me by any way. I know some people kind of hate that kind of haziness that you get. There's not as much clarity, but it really just puts you in this dark depth of everyone's dead around me. There's death everywhere. Now, if you get like too close to someone that's infected or to like a dead body or something like that, your screen actually begins to kind of fade and warp, and that means that you have to get away from them because you'll actually start getting infected yourself. And that's something that you can cure with like a potion that you can buy from monks, or you can actually learn to make it yourself so you can lower your infection rate. Being built in the Unreal Engine, it really shows that, you know, they did a fantastic job in lighting, the way the physics work, and just kind of getting everything put together in this world. They did a really good, fantastic job in my opinion. Audio in this game, really there's not too much to speak about. However, you know, as I mentioned in some of my most recent reviews, this is another game that just does everything fine with audio. Nothing stood out or was crazy, nothing that, you know, I need to write home to or anything like that. The sound effects were fine. There's nothing too amazing here either, you know, whether you're swinging a club or You hear, the anvil being hammered on by a smith within town. It's, it's great. There's a lot of different things like they added in as you walk past a person laying on the ground coughing, about to die or close to death or something like that. Those little effects just add to the theme of the game, where again, just I can't say it enough, there's this death all around you and you really feel it. So they did a great job with that. Other than that though, there's nothing crazy about the score or anything like that I noticed. Now, moving into replayability, this game does have pretty frequent updates for being an early access title. That's something that you always want to see, and I mean, we're playing again right after a major patch that released, and the developers added a lot of things to the game, which is always good to hear in those early access titles, especially one that's been out for, about a year now, and it's nice that after this big update, there's still other things that they're doing. They're not giving up on the game or anything like that. There's a lot of mixed reviews right now, and it seems like the more recent ones are better and more positive. And I think that that's a good tale to show that the developers have been working with the community and doing what they can. Now, with the ability to eventually play as other classes after you rank up, being online, of course, and being able to play with your friends there to help you survive, and then a pretty good ranking system in general to expand what you can craft and what you can learn that way, buying houses, growing your characters, and just a lot of things to kind of continue developing yourself, I can see myself putting a lot more time into this. So really, overall, just kind of wrapping everything up real quick for us here. The Black Death is very much a typical survival game. It's got its own unique environment basically of being set in the mid 1300s, having to survive that plague, not just survive in general, but having your own like plague sickness and things like that too. So there's a few, unique things in that, the way the world's built visually, again, the sound effects and like the ambient noise of hearing different coughs and stuff like that. I mean, it all adds to this mechanic of ensuring that you don't contract the plague, and then while keeping yourself fed and hydrated like other survival games. So it's a really nice overall cohesive theme. And, while the player base is pretty small right now, where it seemed to be on the server that we were playing on, there's still a lot of fun to be had. And I mean, I don't just mean like having to fight people off in PvP all the time, just in general, there's fun to have there. And it's nice to have that small community if you're not into PvP, where you don't have to constantly deal with other players, you can just kind of do your own thing. For $20 as an early access title, I would recommend waiting to get it on a sale if you can. I mean, if you're really looking for another survival game and you liked Ark, you liked Rust, you like Conan Exiles and other titles like that in the genre, it might be something worth picking up. Otherwise, pick it up on a sale, you won't be wrong with it. That being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I've been Thomas with wisegamer.com. You can check me out live at beam.pro/wisegamer, link down in the description. Check out my other playlist for my reviews here, and we'll see you next time.